Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the M53 M55, the Tier 9 American SPG. This one's located on the south spawn of Ghost City, and it's under the command of WR104. Say Ghost City, it's actually Ghost Town, but anyway, same map basically. Well, WR104 doesn't appear to be going very far. He's just backing up a little, but always decided to go up the hill. Now it's the M53 M55. That's the M55 actually. I know that because it's got the 8-inch howitzer. If it was the 155mm gun, it would extend over the front of the vehicle. And in fact, the vehicle is mounted on an M47 chassis, the pattern tank chassis, but reversed. You're looking at the gun pointing out over the engine deck of the vehicle, and the turret is actually where the front of the vehicle and the normal turret on a pattern tank would appear. Okay, I think he's gone up the hill far enough, and you can see that the other M53 M55 is only a short distance away, and that's not normally a good thing to do, because if you have two Artys firing in the same position, they're much easier to spot because there's two tracers coming out from the same spot, and of course much easier to counter battery and possibly take out with a bombardier. Okay, this is a replay from 2020. Got a STB1, rounds out, direct hit, 440 hit points. Now this gun will do 1050 alpha with penetration of 52mm of armour, and he's also got some premium rounds which have got a 12.2 burst radius, whereas the standard ones will do 11.1. And that Striv has just gone down. In fact, the enemy's not doing too well because they've lost 2 tanks already. It looks like that standard B was just hit by the other Arty and RT, because he just showed some stun. But WR's not going to shoot because there's a better target. It's a Lorraine 40 ton. Rounds out and it goes long. But he did get some splash damage at the very least. Okay, all the tanks up that end have now disappeared, but we've got a significant force up that end, and well, if WR104 can give them some help, I think they can probably push through. Now aiming in on the standard B, who just got hit by the other Arty. So we might be giving the other Arty a little bit of an assist here by hitting the standard B again. Direct hit, 461. He'll pick that up as stun assist. Okay, he's moving to a new firing position to avoid counter battery. And the enemy's still there. In fact, now the enemy tanks are close together. And the standard B's gone down, so now he's going to attack the Type 61. Now, can he spot where it's going to stop to take a shot? He fires in behind it and only gets 163 hit points of splash. Almost loaded. 34.3 seconds is the reload. The standard reload is 40.27. STB1, who's pulling back actually and diving down that hill as quickly as he can go. I think he realises he's in grave danger. I'm not sure where that Type 61's gone. Okay, we haven't got any targets to shoot at the moment, so he's gone over to the town, and yes, there is an ST1 he can see here, right out on the corner of town, being spotted by some of our teammates. Direct hit! 360 hit points. It hit the armour on the front of the vehicle where it's strongest, and you can see the other M53 M55 is firing north towards the where the Type 61 was last seen. Okay, still nothing in sight over there. He's decided to shoot at the enemy hill. Oh, just saw a shot there from one of the enemy tank destroyers up near the bushes. Don't think he saw that. But you can definitely see the tracer coming out from tanks sometimes. They just move a little bit faster, and it's very much fainter than standard Arty tracer. But it is possible to spot them occasionally. Lost sight of the enemy again. There's the STB-1. He must have come back up the hill after his quick retreat. Times this shell right. There's the shell from the other Arty. Now he's decided to hold back on shooting. You don't get a lot of ammunition with the M55. 20 rounds is all you get, so you have to make best use of them. And he's only got 14 left in total. Like me, he carries a couple of premium rounds just for those moments when the enemy tanks tend to gather together. And when they do gather together, that's when the premium rounds really do come into their own, because you get double bubble by increasing the burst radius. T95, direct hit onto the side for 201. Now, he should have done more damage, but I suspect again Wargaming is saying, well, he hit the heavy armour. But the T95 has been wiped out by our Skoda T50. Unfortunately, the score is still even, so it's anybody's game. There is a big difference in hit points, though. I don't know if you've noticed that. There's a 4,000 hit point damage difference. We're down by 4,000, which means despite the fact we have the same number of tanks, the enemy team has a lot more hit points on their tanks. And I don't know if you've noticed by looking at the minimap, but you can see that we're also missing quite a few tanks that went up the west side of the map and have all been wiped out since. So I think the enemy managed to claw back the difference by shooting at those tanks. Now he's got a couple of targets to fire at, but he's now going for the T110E4. He's just taking a shot and pulling back. He's marked him as target and lining up the shot. Looks about right, rounds out. Long flight time for the shell. Direct hit, 435. Good estimation of where he would be when the shell arrived. Okay, they spotted an enemy Type 61. Is that the same one that was around the other side? I do believe it is. And he's now gone to the east side of the map, which is why our guys couldn't see him. He actually circled around the top of the map and came down the other side. We're going for the E4 again. Lining up the shot, rounds out. This looks good. And we did see some damage, 308 hit points. We didn't see the fall of shell, but it did hit the spot. It's about a 3 to 4 second delay between shooting and the shell arriving at the other end of the map. And if you've ever seen Arty firing on the battlefield, I suppose a lot of people aren't paying attention, but Arty players do tend to pay attention, that sort of thing. You can see the shell arcing through the sky towards the target. It's very much noticeable now in 1.13 because, of course, they not only make fantastic tracers, but they also make a whistling noise as they go through the air. Okay, we're 3 tanks down on the enemy now. And we've only got a... well, it's not a third. It's actually slightly less than half the hit points of the enemy team. In fact, actually, it's probably about 2/3 of the... a third of the hit points of the enemy team. Okay, well, WR104 is trying to pick the best spot to fire from, but it does increasingly look like the enemy is actually going to make a go for our cap area, because we've lost all the tanks that are actually in the town centre. He's now lining up a shot on that ST1, and there's also a Super Conqueror in there. He fires the round in. Oh, hits the building. He couldn't loop the shell over the building into the tanks. It's very difficult. If he was up on the hill like he was before, and in fact that's where his fellow Arty has actually moved. He's moved to the same position that WR104 was in. But if he was up there, he wouldn't be able to get a shot on these guys at all. So actually moving positions actually helped open up another angle of attack. Lining up shots. Superconk's going to come into range. Yes, rounds out. Kill shot. 351. Unfortunately, we've lost another tank, so we're down to 4 now. 2 mediums, 2 Arty. The enemy team has got 2 heavies, 3 tank destroyers, and 2 Arty as well. This is looking very much like it's going to be a loss. I'll be surprised if they win this. Okay, he's lining up a shot. The T-34 suddenly stopped, and he's out the game. Back in the garage. He stopped for too long. I had the feeling he hesitated and stopped so he could take a shot. Did kill the Scorpion, but now he's out the game. And the ST1 has actually made a move, and he's gone into the cap area now. Okay, so this is to reset the cap. Is the guy going to stay in the cap? No, he's not. He's moving. Okay, so WR is trying to line up a shot. Oh, he's got another one. That's his 3rd kill. And you know that the enemy RT knows where he is, because that shell was aimed at him. Hit the corner there. I think the enemy RT thinks that he was actually on that corner. And maybe the enemy tank was saying he's up in that direction. Ping the mini-map. And that was the nearest place that the enemy RT could fire at. In fact, the enemy has now moved and taken out all of the tanks that are actually up on the hill. The only teammate we've got left is the Skoda T50 on the west side of the map. Now, if WR104 was to try and make a break for it and go up the west side of the map, he'd probably be seen by one of the enemy and be shot at for sure. And in fact, actually, one of the enemies coming towards him, it's the Scorpion G. He's up on the hill right now. And looks like the Skoda just fired at him. Just hit him. Now, big worry. If WR104 pulls out, he might get spotted. He has been spotted. He's auto-aiming on. Oh, kill! A very good kill. That's 4 kills now for WR. But the enemy RT definitely knows where he is now. No doubt about that. He just needs to go unspotted before he pulls out again. But we do know there was a T110E4 up on the hill. And that means now that the... Oh, that was the RT hitting nearby in the corner. We know now that the E4 will know where he is. Will be pre-aimed at this corner. So if WR104 goes around the corner, more than likely he'll take a round. And the cap is going. And that could be... the Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger in the cap. It is. It's just been confirmed. The Skoda saw him. Now, is he going to try and aim? Yep, he is. Good. Dialing in. Come on, 5 kill. Oh, Skoda got the kill. And it's now looking like they might be able to pull off a draw, because although they can cap out in 30 seconds, the enemy... and it looks like one of the Arty's got in the cap circle. If they can get a reset, then... and he's just got a red line. Can he do it? Try for it. Try for it. Rounds out. Yes! He got the kill on the Batchat 155-55, and he reset the other tank in the cap, which was the E4. And now it's 2 versus 2, and they've got a very real chance of either winning this game or at least getting a draw out of it. If you'd said that 3 minutes ago, I would have said, well, that's amazing, and there goes the E4, and that just leaves one remaining enemy, the M53, M55. We don't know where he is, and so it is definitely going to be a draw, but a pretty honourable draw, because they clawed that out of a potential loss. The second replay is on the north spawn of the cliff map, and this time round it's Angelina75 in the M53 M55. Game started. Well, she's in the M55 with the skin created by Jazz. Yes, we still miss her. Love her skins. Sadly, I'm afraid she's not around anymore, and well, I suppose the skins will be around forever, and will remind people that these skins were hers. It's like creating a piece of artwork which is everlasting. Okay, Angelina's loaded, ready to go. Oh, first enemy's been spotted, and it's an MX1390 going up the cliff towards the top. Rounds out. Well, landed behind him for 71 hit points. Always a nice try and hit the enemy tanks, especially the light tanks when they try to go up the hill, because, well, a big round hitting them tends to really disappoint them, because they end up at the top of the hill, or if they do end up at the top of the hill, with virtually no hit points. And say sometimes you hit them with a round and they actually get set alight and they don't get to the top of the hill because they burned up before that happens. Well, you see there's plenty of enemy tanks have been spotted, but we can't see any at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if that standard B's nearby. Oh, there's the Skoda making his way up the hill as well. This time round, Angelina fires a little promptly. Oh, beautiful. She doesn't get the kill, but she did get some hit points, I'm sure. Or did she? No, it doesn't show any hit points, so maybe she didn't get any. And that's disappointing if that's the case, because she did aim that one perfectly. Yeah, I guess that her teammate was just a little quicker on the draw than she was. Now, as you notice, there was 3 Arty either side in this game. One of her fellow Arties, either the 2128 or the GW Tiger, is focusing on that AMX 1390 up on top of the hill. Now, some of you might have actually seen the video by Klaus Kellerman about the changes in 1.13, and he actually did point out, keep it simple stupid, was to actually say to Wargaming all the change they needed to make to alter Arty was just reduce the number of Arty per battle. And if they'd done that, then they would have actually effected the same change that they've done with all the alterations of the shells. They just didn't need to ruin Arty by changing the shells, and that's exactly what they've done, ruin it. A direct hit there on the 268 and Angelina 494. You can see where the shell landed, right on top of the vehicle, the weak armour. Unfortunately, he's pulled back out of sight. There he is. She's going for it again. Rounds out. Lands in front of him, this time for 425. But he's now virtually no hit points whatsoever. Now, some people have actually commented that since the changes in 1.13, they're actually now starting to achieve the same sort of damage and XP levels that they used to achieve before the changes. So, despite the fact that Wargaming have altered the game and made it very, very difficult for some of the non-Arty players to play Arty, the regular players of Arty have actually adapted already and are now getting the same difference. So effectively, Wargaming needn't have even made the changes at all, and they'll get the same amount of damage. Some of them will, not all of them. So you can see Wargaming, they always try to fix something that's not broken and end up breaking it in the process. And the same can be said for the HE changes, which have now ruined tanks like the KV-2, who can't one-shot an enemy tank out of existence anymore, simply because they don't have the ability to do so. They just don't have the penetration, or they just can't damage enough modules to wipe them out. Okay, she's gone back to the T62A, who was last seen hiding in the corner of the donut. No sight of him though. Oh, okay, enemy tank's been spotted on the hill, going up to the top. It's a Waffenträger auf Panzer IV, trying to squeeze past the wreck there. Not really helping. Rounds out. Direct hit and a penetration. 1,180 hit points. Now, as I mentioned before, this Arty is capable of doing 1,050, so that was a high roll. And the GW Tiger finished off the Waffenträger with the very next shot. So she not only got the damage, but she also got the stun assist when the Waffenträger was killed. So that's not showing on the list. Now, maybe the Waffenträger might have used his first aid kit to get rid of the stun, but it really didn't help him. Rounds out the Jaeger. 189 lands directly in front of him. The C62 has now been spotted. I think that's been proxy spotted by some of our teammates below the cliff. Now, it's difficult for Angelina to get a shot on that 121B, but she can probably put a shot into that T62A. She's loaded, ready to go. Fires around at the 121, but he pulls back. She still gets 302 hit points of splash. Yep, that T62 ace now showing, but he's hiding behind the rocks. He obviously knows he's in danger. So he's moved around. In fact, if one of our tanks, such as the Centurion Action 10, could actually move up to that corner and shoot at the T62, it might force him out and then give Angelina a shot. Either that or the Centurion Action 10 will get a shot. But I think the Centurion is moving back because he saw this. The IS-7 rounds out. Only 73 hit points off that shot. He did move away from the blast circle. And that's another thing that's been reduced on the current update. If you use some of the shells, the blast radius has actually been reduced, which makes it much more difficult to actually get damage on the enemy. E4 at the corner, facing another E4. And Angelina's going to be loaded. Rounds out, direct hit. 365 directly in the face of the E4. He's not going to like that. He's not used his first aid kit, so I suspect he's not able to do so because he's already used it. It's on cooldown. He just got smacked by another shot, and I think that was from our E4 or one of the other tanks we had nearby. With 3 tanks down on the enemy now. We've lost the tank up in the sniper nest. The IS-7's still up there. Rounds out. Direct hit on the turret. In fact, right next door to the turret, you can see there the yellow stain is actually right next door to the turret ring. Unfortunately, he just killed our Death Star. And now we've got an IS-32 on the corner. He's trying to shoot at our E4. He only fired 1 round. He didn't fire a volley. Rounds out. Went long because he moved just before Angelina fired. She's got no shot in the IS-7 at the moment. He's pulled back because he knows he's in danger. Meanwhile, we've got the E4 threatening to come around the corner. The annoying thing is we're facing 11 opponents at the moment. The team's not really been able to get a lot of kills, but then Angelina proves that wrong by getting a kill. But she was fired on by that T62A, so when she fired, yeah. And the Jaegeru fires around in a 17cm shell, which wipes her out. She had to move because the T62A had seen where she was. And she said, thank God that's over. Well, she did incredibly well. She got a kill. She took out that 121B, but I'm afraid the fact of the matter is the enemy team is starting to squash everybody into this corner. There's only 3 tanks left now. Yes, if Angelina had moved anywhere else, somebody on the enemy team would have had a shot on her. So if she moved behind that building to cover from the Jaegeru and the other tanks, the E4, then she would have been shot at by the IS-7 and also by the Object 268. And if she tried to go behind those buildings, she would have been shot at by the Jaegeru and the E4. The game is over. It is a loss. So no fault to Angelina. I'm afraid the team just let the enemy box them into the corner. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Here's the end of battle results, and in the first game on Ghost Town, you can see that WR104 managed a first class tanker in his M55. He also got a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He ended up with 5, 1/3 of the enemy team and just 1 short of a top gun. And he also got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 18. And best of all, he got an epic medal. He got a Gauze medal for doing more damage than 8 times the hit points of his own vehicle. His win rate in that game was 6,844. And unfortunately, it was a draw because they couldn't find the last enemy in the time they had left. It wasn't possible. But they managed to claw a draw from a very likely loss. It was looking increasingly like they were going to die, but they managed to pull something back out of it. If you look at the team score, we can see that he did get the highest damage in the game, WR104. He got 4,227 hit points of damage. Not enough for a high caliber because it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. And the second highest damage was actually done by the Super Conqueror on the enemy team with 3,997. And the third highest damage was actually done by the E4 with 3,771. The other M53, M55 on their team also managed to get a Confederate medal. When it came to kills, it was definitely WR104 who managed to get the highest number with 5 kills. 3 kills went to the Skoda T50 and also to the Super Conqueror on the enemy team. 2 kills went to the Object 140 and the T34 and ST1 on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, he was actually beaten by the Skoda T50 who was doing spotting. He got 749. I think we can see, yes, 2,431 hit points of spotting, which actually improved his XP over WR104, who got 650, which put him in second place, and the third place went to the Super Conqueror with 630. WR5, 15 rounds, got 11 direct hits but no penetrations and 15 splash. Damage of 4,227 hit points, of which 4,035 were at more than 300 meters. So you can see there were some fairly close shots, including that one on the Scorpion, which he did basically a shotgun at close range. 11 enemy vehicles were damaged, 5 were killed, and 364 hit points of stun assist off 10 stuns, and he managed to get 37 defense points when he reset the cap. On a free-to-play account, he earned 28,313 credits, got 3,725 for Courageous Resistance, and that came to a total of 32,038 credits. After ammunition resupply, he took away a profit of 3,988 credits. He got 35 bonds for mission achievements, 650 base XP, 393 for Courageous Resistance, took away 1,043 experience points altogether. So pretty good game by the WR104, and he stood his ground towards the end of the game, and it worked, and they did manage to whittle down the enemy. There was just no chance of finding the M53, M55, who was very likely up the other end of the map, and they weren't going to get there in time, so they had to settle for a draw. But a draw is better than a loss, and unfortunately a loss is what fell to Angelina in the second game. She got a third class tanker for that game. A bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. She managed to get 16, but she also managed to get a Gauze medal, just like WR104. She did enough damage to exceed 8 times the hit points of her own vehicle, and a win rate of 4,065 from that game. If we look at the team score, we can see that she actually did get the highest damage in the game. 4,089 hit points in total. The next high scorer being the T62A on the enemy team, who actually fired on her, got a patrol duty. He got 3,658. And the third highest damage was the IS-7 with 3,514. The 212A on the enemy team also got a Confederate, and the Jaeger that killed her got a Pascucci's medal because he killed 2 Arty. When it came to kills, it was the enemy team that did best here, with the IS-7 getting 4 kills, 3 kills to the IS-3 2, and 2 kills to the 212A and the Jaeger. And when it came to base XP, yep, she got the top on her team with 430, but the best people in the game were the T62A with 1,086, the only player over 1,000. The 212A managed 986, and the IS-3-2 managed to get 948. She fired 13 rounds in that game, 6 direct hits, 1 penetration. Of course, that penetration was on the Waffenträger Aufpanzer 4, 11 splash on the enemy, 4,089 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. 2 hits received. 1 was from the T62A. That forced her to move out of cover, and the moment she did, she was spotted by the Jaeger, and he fired on her and finished her off. 9 enemy vehicles were damaged, 1 was killed, and 1,051 hit points of stun assist off 11 stuns. On a premium count, Angelina earns 46,632 credits, got 50,000 for the first mission completion or first win of the day, plus 5,588 from Courageous Resistance for getting an epic medal in a losing or drawn game. 102,220 credits altogether, and after repair and ammunition resupply took away a profit of 64,100, and I think is that 85 or 5? My eyesight's terrible. It's 85 now, yep. 5 bonds for completion of missions, and 645 XP, 388 for Courageous Resistance, took away 1,033 experience points altogether. So, 2 really great games by both Angelina and also by WR104. Both earned Gauze medals, and Gauze medal, excuse my voice is going. Gauze medals are going to be extremely difficult to earn now, because of course in order to do that you have to earn 8 times the hit points of your own vehicle in damage. Pardon me. And it is going to be very, very difficult to earn that much damage in after 1.13, but some people are trying, and I think a few have succeeded already, but there won't be many, because of course now they don't RT shells don't earn as much damage as they used to in the past. I hope you enjoyed both those replays. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.